at some moment that happens.
Oh my.
Which I was like, okay, he's not gonna get this at all, which is fine. All right, Skype, are we good? Can you just let me do this? Why you got all the stuff up? We're good. Everything's fine, Skype. Go away. Go away. It's got the thing where it like goes shady on the whole screen and shows all the icons. I'm like, I don't want any of the icons, please. Okay, that's better. Music in the background. What are we doing?
I'll hear that. If you want to share with that, you can switch that out for Lindsay's. Do it there too, if you're back to start.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I wanted this one first. All right. So, if I recall correctly, Mardred and Valkyria had just started back up the morning after an eventful trip, day-long trip into the woods to find themselves a unicorn, in which they fought many battles and won many battles. And the plan was that they were going to head back to meet up with Jonin at the forge.
Yes. That's what I recall too.
Okay. So we're going to keep that thought process going.
Okay.
And we're going to say that you have essentially traveled kind of back all the way, relatively uneventful leg back into back to the forge, which was surprising considering how eventful it was on the way out.
We killed everything was to encounter it.
And then it was very quiet when you came back. You're like, okay, cool, this is weird. And then when you get back to the forge, you can't actually see Jonin anywhere. You're able to go up and look right at... hello, chanting. Wasn't sure that was going to be quite so loud. Seriously, wow. Apparently there's chanting happening at the forge as well.
Apparently.
So you made it kind of back, and you can't see him anywhere around. You can see that he's been clearly working on some stuff. There's some pretty awesome metal pieces that have been forged and are kind of cooling off and look like they're about ready to be transported. But as you approach, you notice the forge fire is still kind of going strong. And give me a perception check.
Okay. That's with the D20, right?
Mm-hmm.
18. 7. 7.
Excellent. So, Mardred here.
Yeah.
Mardred, as you look in, you just see just kind of a really steady, healthy fire. Valkyria, as you look in, you see kind of just within the flames, not like fully human size, but there is a dancing humanoid figure in the fire that's just kind of going around.
Okay.
So I'm going to pause my narration there and let you kind of have a bit of a chat about what you think that means and what you'd like to do to proceed forward.
Okay. Mardred.
Where'd Jordan go?
Are you seeing what I'm seeing? There's in the fire?
It's a really nice fire.
Right. But besides that part, there's a... You don't see the figure dancing in the fire?
When was the last time you ate something?
I
know you've been seeing a lot of cool things. Yo.
No, I am totally lucid. I'm awake. I'm well fed. There is a figure dancing in the fire. Could that be Jonin? We know he's a fire guy. Could he have transformed? Is he in the fire right now?
You should talk to him.
Okay. Good plan. So I attempt to address the creature in the fire.
Mm-hmm.
So excuse me.
Excuse me.
Hello. Jonan, is that you?
What does it say?
You hear a very faint from the fire. Yes.
I knew it. Okay. How are you doing, buddy?
Can I hear the fire, Kyle?
Oh yeah,
Can
can
you
you?
see it?
You can hear it. Yes. We'll say you can hear it, and then why don't you give me another perception check then?
I can hear it. Okay, 12.
Well, you were able to hear it, so because you were able to hear it, I lowered the DC on that one. So now you can see the figure. Yay!
Yeah! Now that my attention has been drawn to it.
Uh-huh.
Jonan, what are you up to, buddy?
Dancing.
Okay. Well, as long as you're doing okay there in that hot forge fire.
I am good.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing there?
Dancing.
For what?
Because I wanted to.
How much longer will you be dancing?
I am not sure. It may be days.
Well, Margaret, it seems our friend Jonan is fairly preoccupied with I don't know if we're going to get too much conversation out of him at this moment. He was pretty busy. So, what say you and I stalk the camp? Because maybe when he's done working, he's going to need refreshment and sustenance. What do you think?
Oh,
Very
that's very sweet of you guys. Yeah, so
Okay,
you're
so
going to talk up the camp a little bit?
Okay, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
That's right, yeah. So that was your plan? Alright,
Yeah, we want to, since he seems busy, we're gonna, I guess, go in search of some ways to make the camp fresh and restocked.
Okay. So yeah, let's do a survival check, so you can kind of check around the area and see what's there.
Okay. Uh-oh. 8.
3.
Wait, what thing? I'm just what to add to that?
Wisdom.
Oh, okay, so a 9.
Okay. Cool. So you're able to both here. You're able to notice some berries on some bushes around the perimeter of the clearing in the area. And that's about all you can find at this point.
Okay. Margaret, let's gather those berries. We'll put them into whatever container we can find in the house. That way Jordan will have something to eat when he's all done with his foraging. You doing okay?
Yeah. All right. So you gathered some berries. We'll say there's a nice little, like, a largish bowl that seems relatively clean that's just conveniently hanging around. That you're able to kind of put a bunch of berries in that are just going to hang out right there and help for making Jordan feel better when he gets out of the fire. As he's kind of been dancing there a little bit, you hear kind of another whisper for you two to kind of come back around close to the fire.
Okay. We run out to the fire and lean close.
I like to run out. Here. And so you hear him say, "I can catch up with you. You can keep moving towards the mountains."
Okay, are you sure, Jordan?
Just keep building fires on the way and I can find you.
Oh, that's right. Okay, we will do that. We will talk to you next time we make camp then. Happy forging.
Yee!
so
nice
cute.
little,
He's so cute.
flourish of dancing.
Okay.
From inside, the flame goes like. All right.
Are there any finished pieces lying around we need to take with us, or it's all like still in progress?
It is. Oh, it's the shield. The shield is not quite ready yet. So no, nothing is finished yet. Though, who knows? Maybe the next time you see him, after we spend an entire day hanging out there, he might end up actually finishing them instead of needing to do more later. Yeah. So, yeah, nothing else is finished at this point. There's some cooling pieces, but they're not completed. It's metal elements of the piece that are kind of separate.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to keep going towards the mountains then.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the morning, right? Or maybe late morning, but
Yeah, it's
okay.
about like 10:30 at this point.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So should we head towards the mountains then?
Yes.
All right, let's do it.
Which is east, right?
South.
South.
Yep. You're heading south. You're kind of on the edge of the Oraiuni forest. Down where that kind of southern finger pops out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're moving kind of down towards that direction.
Okay. Are we in that southern finger, like already kind of?
You are. Yeah, we'll say you're probably about like halfway down the southern finger. And when you went up into the forest, you kind of like went in and kind of curved. Your line would have gone up, so you're heading more towards into like the heart of the forest.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Cool.
Excellent. So you're trucking along, having a great. What are all these emails? Breathe, phone. Okay. Okay. So you're having kind of a nice low-key morning, traveling along, and right about lunchtime, we'll say you're gonna stop to take a bit of a breather. There's some nice shade from a tree that's just barely off the path, so you can take a bit of a relaxing moment. Do you guys want to try and eat? Did you have any rations you want to try and eat, or is it just kind of a relaxing sort of like?
We should probably eat, but I don't have written down what we have.
10 is what we started with. I think up to this point we haven't really used rations. So I think we just be at 9.
You can also, if you would like to, try and hunt with a survival check. Or forage for nuts and berries, again.
What do you want to do?
Let's try hunting.
Okay, try hunting.
Excellent. Alright, roll me a survival check.
Okay.
Because you can literally try all these things before we go.
Natural 3. What? Wisdom to that one too?
Yeah.
Okay, so 4. Boo.
13.
14. Alright. 13?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool. We'll let that work. You're able to find, let's say 2 rabbits, 2 hares, that you're able to kind of snag and bring back and build a small fire, I guess, under the tree and roast some rabbit for lunch.
Nice.
Cool. So. Is this the one with the chanting? Okay. So, as you're sitting and eating, you hear kind of a sound in the distance coming from back where you had been traveling. So this is something that's moving on the path behind you. Yeah, there's been a decent amount of travelers here and there, but it's been, like I said, it's been a quiet morning. You haven't seen anyone else since you've been traveling, and you hadn't really actually seen anyone else since about like an hour or two before you veered off to find the forge a couple days ago. So it's been kind of an oddly quiet period on this pretty main road heading down towards the mountains. And so you're kind of sitting and watching, and as this is a little too positive. What's this? Okay, that's better, I guess. I like the first moments of that song, and I was like, this is great. And then it goes like big and grand. Like, that's... No.
It was very epic.
Yeah, I was like, it's not supposed to be like... The mood is not ominous, per se, but it's kind of a like, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, as you watch, you happen to see, coming down from behind the road, a bit of a caravan. And there's, it seems like, 7 carts, wagons per se, that are all linked together. They're kind of full boxed carts. Large size, definitely large enough to fit, we'll say probably about like 30 people inside each one of them, all standing next to each other. So these are like sizable things. You may have seen these before if you've watched horses being carted back and forth. Like, that's kind of what this looks like. And there's 7 of these with what looks like maybe a cart that people live in towards the back.
Okay.
And there are... there is one woman kind of at the front driving the cart. Very nice.
Is she short and wrinkled?
Roll me a perception check. Perhaps.
Do it.
You're
even playing the music right now, aren't you?
Huh?
Or no?
No,
I
not
thought
that
you
music.
were saying the music for it. No. Okay.
No, there's music playing, but it's not that music.
Oh, okay.
So as you kind of are walking, or kind of sitting and listening to this kind of roll up, there's some. It's also really interesting that you're hearing many other sounds besides just the carts rolling forward. That's kind of all that you're hearing at this point. And so as this caravan approaches, the old woman kind of stops and smiles at both of you and puts the caravan on hold and hops down and wanders over and goes, "Looks like you're having quite a nice meal here."
Greetings, old woman. Would you like some of our rations? We can spare a little bit.
I would be much obliged for that, yes. Yes. Thank you.
So I break off like a part for her, my meal, and I hand it over.
And she takes a little bite and goes, "It's been a bit quiet on the road, hasn't it?"
Yeah, I was thinking that ourselves.
Strangely quiet, yes.
It's not good for business. I have a bit of a show here, and I require people to come and see it, and to pay for seeing it.
Yeah, I can imagine that it's been bad for business.
What kind of show?
What kind of show?
I have quite a bit of wonder hidden behind the curtains of these caravans. Things that many thought were lost to legend, but I was able to capture them and keep them here, so that others may have the good fortune to see them themselves as I come through their towns. I have heard there is another town not too far away from here.
Is that so?
Are you in search of a town to perform at?
Not perform per se, but we are on a mission, and we're always at each town we've been asking for information regarding our mission. So we're always interested to hear where the settlements are.
You have a mission, you say?
So we're returning a book to a long-lost friend about worms.
Yep. What she said.
Very important. It has to do with the experiment on worms. Really important story for reading.
And it requires...
But it's hard to talk about much more.
Yep, that's it.
And it requires the two of you to take this book about worms.
I told you, very important.
She's the scholar and the bodyguard.
That is apparent. Any particular kind of worms? Is there some, like, giant mythical worm that's chronicled in this? I'm just perplexed. Worms.
Why, do you have a Midgard serpent? I'm just kidding.
Here's bodyguard. What? You have a Midgard serpent?
So I'm trying to convey, like, to Margaret, I don't trust this lady, like, so I don't want to, like, give, like, I kind of want to, like, get away from the topic. So I'm thinking I ask her if we can, like, what it costs to see the show, and if she'll show us what she has in her caravans. Okay, so I want to, like, change the subject, so I pull out my coin purse. I'm like, so business, you say business is slow. My companion and I here would like to see the oddities that you have in your caravan. Would you take our gold? See the show?
I would say I just might, but it's going to cost a gold apiece for each of you.
All right, we can afford that.
Excellent.
Okay, so we hear your gold, Margaret. All right, so we hand her 2 gold pieces.
So she smiles and says, "Very well, follow me then." As she's walking towards the first cage, she goes, "I've been looking for help. I've not been able to find anyone to help me on this bit of a journey, but you know how hard it is to find good help these days."
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. True.
And I will admit that there is one open cage here right now. I have not been able to... the last creature that I had in there escaped. And I've been looking for something else quite particular and specific. And so she pulls back the curtain to the first one, and you are able to see, in fact, a giant serpent around, swirling inside, and she said, "Warm enough for you, friends?"
We just gotta stand there with our
I know worms as well.
And then I kind of nudge Margaret, like, get out our notebook and take notes. We gotta pretend like we're hunting worms.
I must document this worm.
Good job, Margaret. Document the worm, because we're on a mission to document worms.
I'm also just like, I think I kind of drew out a little map of where we've seen the first unicorn. But you're keeping descriptions.
Yeah.
So I think I'll just kind of like keep a track of like where we're going.
That's
so
right.
Like if you want to know where we ran into her.
You're the cartographer, so I guess I'm the one who like takes down all. Yeah.
Well, either or. But yeah, definitely like writing down. Okay, we ran into this lady here.
Okay, good. That was sneaky way to do it. Okay, good.
Mm-hmm. So in your travel of this book, have you seen a worm like this one before?
Can't say that we have.
Certainly not in the flesh.
Of course you haven't. That is the wonder of my oddities. No one else has these. This is the last one. This is why I collect them and keep them.
I see.
Last one. What happens when it dies?
Well, I can't exactly get it to procreate with anything if it's the last, correct?
How do you know it's the last one?
Has anyone else ever told you of a worm this size?
I mean, I've read a lot of books about worms, but...
There are books about many things, including unicorns, and yet people have not seen unicorns in quite some time, have they not?
You're right.
Nope, haven't seen any unicorns. Those are the stuff of legends. Yep.
Talk about the unicorns all the time, but man, I've never seen a unicorn, and here before me is a Midgard serpent.
Very impressive.
If anyone did have to find a unicorn, I'm sure it would be you.
You're an odd duo, aren't you?
We get that all the time.
Alright. She moves down to the next one, opens it up, and there is a dragon inside. Smallish looking dragon, black in scale color. Actually, no, I lie. Red scaled. That seems to be, the Midgard serpent was moving around a bit, kind of a bit of slithering, but seems pretty tired. This dragon is flat out, like, sleeping and just passed out in the back at this point. It is small for what you've kind of been rumored to hear dragon sizes are. But it is there. Has any of you seen a dragon before?
Well, you might be able to tell that I am the Aasimar race, and in my younger days, I was evil, so sometimes our evil forces would use trained dragons, but they were much bigger than this guy, but I haven't seen one in quite some time. He's a beautiful color.
Mm-hmm.
Why is he so small?
This one is still young. I am not sure where any others are. This is the only one that I have seen for quite some time. And furthermore, you may notice the color in particular is not known as a dragon that is kind to human folk. This one would attack you in a heartbeat, and yet I hold him. He stays here with me.
Tell us your name. I don't think we were formally introduced. What's your name?
You can just call me Mommy.
Mommy, how do you, what's your secret? How do you keep these very rare magical creatures under your control?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Well,
Next
I
card.
would like to know.
Smooths right on down to the next one, flips it open, and you see a satyr filling up the entire cart, large, its horns up and red, looking a little vicious for what you typically think of as satyrs. He kind of stands there, growls a little bit, but looks relatively sedated as well. She says, "Struck out on the first. You seen any satyrs in your time?"
Not I.
Certainly not.
It's very impressive.
I saved a town out east from being terrorized by this creature. Cast a slight spell, put him to sleep, and now he stays here. Ready for everyone else to come and notice and see him and appreciate this creature for in all its beauty, now that it's not tearing the roof of your house off.
I suppose you can't have that. You have satyrs tearing roofs off of villagers' houses.
There are two more. Have we scared you enough to not want to see the last two?
I want to see more.
I love to be scared.
Yeah.
Goodness. And she kind of like hurriedly hobbles down to the next one, rather excited to be showing things off again. Flings open the next one and shows you the Manticore. of legend.
A manticore.
What a fine beast.
Indeed.
Where did you come across him?
This was in one of the mountain ranges. Further up north, I caught this one. Taking a little bit of a nap nearby, and that's how I found him.
He napped at his own risk, apparently.
Don't they all? Don't we all?
Very true.
I know you asked earlier. I suppose it's good enough just to tell you this little bit now. I have a bit of a luck with the magic arts. And I keep these fine creatures in their cages by regularly casting a sedation spell that keeps them calm. They may not be pleased to be here, but I think we can all agree that it is important for others to know and be aware of these fine creatures.
This is true. But you've probably come across the argument before, Mommy, that perhaps these creatures, since they're wild, they should be living out the rest of their existence in their habitats. Have you ever thought of just letting them free?
And why would I want to do that when they're keeping me well fed?
True. But I don't know. What goes around comes around. Mommy, you might want to consider setting them free. If not now, then maybe down the road. You can always find new amazing creatures.
She smirks, walking back to the final one. Pulls back the curtain and says, I do worry about this one.
Oh boy.
This is the harpy.
We leap back from the bars.
As the harpy's face kind of looks over and looks at both of you. Eyes just kind of dead and staring at you, making you feel rather cold inside as she stares you down.
Okay, I take two quick steps back from bars. Mommy, I really don't think you should have one of those in captivity. That's extremely dangerous.
Why do you say it's dangerous to have them in captivity? Have you known any others to be kept in captivity?
No, good point.
Exactly.
But if it were to ever get loose, it's the most wild of all.
And yet, they all know, including this one. Should they, and whenever they escape, they will remember that I held them, and they were my captive. For whatever great dignity that they once felt at some point, there is this now touch of domestication that they live with. But I have held them and I have kept them. It is true. They may be the end of me someday, but it is not today.
You're a very interesting businesswoman, Mommy.
Will you let them all free if you find a unicorn? Seems like unicorn hasn't been elusive about all these creatures.
No, of course I will not let them free. She kind of goes back and gestures and she's like, I got a space for one right here, wide open. There's no need to let anyone else out. It would just complete a nice further package. The unicorn, can you imagine adding a unicorn to this collection? It's just right here, waiting for the right one to make a mistake and let herself be out in the open. Lure her in.
Speaking of which, what was the creature that got away from you?
I had a dryad in here.
We followed those, didn't we?
A dryad, a spirit of the trees.
Okay, going meta for a second. Didn't we fight one of those?
No?
Oh, okay. I must be remembering wrong. I thought we fought one of those last battle, but I guess.
No, I think you have.
No.
You fought a giant elk and a couple giant vultures and some dire wolves.
Oh, right. Okay. Sorry, never mind.
No, it's fine.
We killed her. For some reason, I remember fighting those. I must be thinking of Skyrim or something.
Right. And now I was like, in the game that Chris is jamming for me, I was like, I mean, I saved some dryads from something last time, but nothing in this one.
No,
anyway, yeah.
I guess not. Okay, alright.
So yes, there was a dryad that was here for, I held her for about a year. And she was a nice hopeful end to this midnight carnival of horrors. The rest of these creatures could potentially mean doom for any one of the folk if they were able to get free, but the dryad was a nice touch at the end. And alas, I made the mistake of parking the caravan too close to a forest, and I awoke to the sounds of some of her family ripping open the cart and letting her free. Which is for the best for her, I suppose.
I would say so.
And gives me open space to find another creature to complete my set.
This is true.
It is a hard life, and yet sometimes something must be taken for something else to be given.
So I'm thinking, should we offer to travel with her since we're both going towards the town? We'll just travel together. And also, at night, let the creatures out.
Margaret looks thrilled about this. Probably she was just like,
No, that was... we're having an out-of-game discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think we should offer that.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, so Mommy, could you use... thank you for the show, by the way. The show of horrors. Very impressive. Never seen anything like it. Like, more than got my money's worth. I don't know about
tell all your friends. Let everyone know.
Most certainly we will. Could you use some traveling companions since we're headed towards the town as well?
Just about, another half day's journey, I think, from here? Maybe? A few more hours and we can be there probably around dinner? I don't know if there's much you can do, but you're welcome to follow along with the caravan.
Alright.
Okay.
That's what we'll do.
Perhaps defend me from any ill folk who come looking to take away my creatures from me.
You never know. We've seen some pretty shady folk about in our search for worms and worm journaling.
Shady folk, you say? People looking for worms.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Just the occasional cultists here and there, and some wild forest beasts who weren't too happy about sharing their territory. So, yeah, we've seen a bit on our journeys.
Goodness. Alright. She says, very well then, is there anything you need to pick up? And completed your little camp here before we keep moving?
We just pack up our rations, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so pack up our rations into our packs and pick up our weapons and we're ready to go.
Very well. So you start kind of traveling a little bit. Yeah, it's going pretty smoothly and calmly. Again, no further travelers, which Mommy mentions a couple times. She was kind of hoping perhaps that someone else would swing by in hopes that she could sell a show to them, have you both kind of tag along and act really surprised and enhance their joy of this moment. So she gripes a bit as she's driving. And it's going to take you guys a couple, probably about 3-4 hours to get there. Is there anything in particular that you wanted to do during that journey, or kind of just trucking along, biding time and waiting to get to the town?
Not physically, but maybe we want to try to figure out what kind of magic she's using to hold the... Because we kind of want to know what we're up against at this point.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Here's the thing I was looking for.
Can we do like perception checks for like visual indications of magic on the cages or anything?
I mean, that's my first indication. Is like my first indication in almost anything is like do a perception check. But I was going to like let me look really quick just to make sure. Do an Arcana check.
Okay, so I get to add the Arcana, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or it's an eye, so.
Yes.
Okay.
So
16 for me.
16. Goodness. All right.
14.
14 per person.
Well done. Unfortunately, Kirsten, you were oh so close. Did not quite make that. So you got a bit of a sense of like there's definitely a spell happening here. And it is a strong one by someone who's done this spell numerous times and has this down pat. But that's about all you got. Valkyra, you're able to notice she has the ins and outs of exactly what the spell are is a little bit difficult, but you can tell that it's a constant. It takes about 2 minutes. Actually, I'd say about 5 minutes of concentration to actually cast it, and then it's good for about 12 hours, we'll say.
Okay.
So there's nothing you can do about this spell at the moment. It is just there for now, and then you've probably got actually about another 10 hours of the spell being in place.
Okay, so it's like lunch now-ish? Like noon or 1?
It's probably about 1 at this point.
Okay, so we know... Okay, so we know like 11 o'clock at night, she'll have to come back to recast it, so we kind of... Okay, so here, I'll talk to her.
Love it.
I can perceive that the whatever spell she's using will wear off around 11 tonight, so... About an hour before that one spell is weak, we can try to free the creatures. Are you game?
It's a really strong spell. I think we've tried.
All we can do is try, right?
At worst, we could try to distract her so she can't come back to recast it.
And they might break free on their own. We could try that. Okay.
I think we want to be far away when they get out too.
We don't want to be around either. Okay, so we quietly, like we're kind of say we're like tailing behind the caravan a little bit where we're off to the side. We're not like riding on the buckboard with her. We kind of hatch a plan to distract her in some way at that time so that she's not able to recast the spell and hopefully the creature's going to escape.
Sure. All right, so,
although, okay, man, if we're at the village, though, they're going to, creatures are going to get loose in the village.
I was wondering if we were going to get to that point before it happened. It's like, okay.
Might have to, I don't know. This is
That's
tough.
right, the whole village will blame it on her.
Not our fault. All right. So, yeah. So we've made some plans, traveling down, kind of getting towards like 4:35. Sun's starting to set, and you roll into this lovely town of Mougère.
Yep.
So you're going to be coming in from the north, all the way down into kind of like that center square area. And as you're coming in, people are kind of out and watching the caravan walk in. And Mommy's up front doing her whole, look at the great midnight carnival from here. And telling everyone to come back after the sun has set to show them around and see the carnival of horrors that she has pulled together. Doing her best showmanship to get everyone there. So you're able to kind of go into kind of that main town square. There aren't really any kind of shops and stalls that are set up at this point. Everything's been kind of broken down for the day. And so she kind of just drives the caravan up and around and makes kind of a little half circle in the square area to settle in. She kind of hops out, makes sure everything is secure, and then just starts wandering around, going through the streets, encouraging everyone to come by, making sure everyone knows exactly when things are happening, and how much it costs. So she has left her caravan there. Everything is still currently locked in place.
Okay. Well, I say, Margaret, what say we go get some dinner at a tavern and discuss our plan to free the animals. Okay.
I think we should also kind of gauge the interest of the town. Because we don't want anyone telling her about unicorn stories before they can tell us about unicorn stories. So maybe the pub is a good place to start that.
Yeah.
Because we can, start suspicion around her or something.
Very nice. All right. So if you're looking at your map, just kind of to the north of the square, you see there's kind of like a large other dirt area in between some buildings. The one on the left, the one on the left, that kind of like largest trapezoid, that is the town's main tavern.
Okay. So, all right. So we head over there.
It's called the Bloody Sword.
Nice.
You see a stack of barrels that are kind of precariously stacked just towards the end. There's a second story where you can sleep at night should you so choose to. And kind of walk inside, and it's moderately lively. A good group of people that are in there and enjoying themselves. Not super packed or not a ton of people, but it's... goodness. No yawning. We're fine. There's a good number of people. Yes, me too.
Mirror neurons.
Right.
Yep.
So, yeah, there's a good number of people who kind of in, out, and about in this space.
Okay.
And I think I'm going to let you two plan what you want to do, and I have some espresso ice cream downstairs that I might want to grab for myself and get a smidge more caffeine in this goodness.
Okay, you go do that.
Be right back.
So the barrels are interesting because I'm thinking, is that like a distraction or like also what's in there?
Right.
So I'm actually wondering if one of us should be the distraction and one of us create the distraction. One of us should hop on the front wagon, lead the wagons out of the village, and then the animals can go free kind of in. So I'm not sure. I mean, I think we're not out of the forest yet, per se. We'd have to ask how. But we could let them go into the wilderness and not like into the village. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think we could use the barrels as an advantage.
Okay.
At some point.
But any information we're going to get about unicorns, we should get it before that, because after she might suspect that we set her animals free, so we probably don't want to be seen by her again. I'm guessing her heartbeat's going to kill her. But we'll see. I don't know.
We could. Yeah, we could also talk in the tavern to people to see if they know anything about magic and if they can help us perceive how
to turn on spells.
Yeah, or if they can do something else to interfere with it spell-wise.
Okay. Alright, good plan. So we're going to go in. We're going to see if there's anyone to talk to. We're going to ask about unicorns and spells. And then around like 10 or 10:30, we put our plan into action. Yeah? Okay. I always wonder like what Al's plan is. Like what was the... Because when people are playing, there's other people's like free will involved. So I always wondered like how a game master like deals with the different choices the players can make.
Yeah.
Like what if we said, oh, we're gonna hang out at the forge until
Getting down from the way.
Yeah, I guess you could do that. I don't think like crazily enough. Or we could have just, I don't know, we could have kept on hunting for unicorns around the forest. Yeah. Do we have any good snacks? Some bagel chips.
I have, there's some Chex Mix, there's also some Cheez-It mix. You want some?
You both kinds? Okay, do you want any?
I think I'm okay.
How do you feel about like the fan just below?
Yes. Totally.
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
I return. I heard a noise. Is there something? Okay, cool. It's not for mine. Boom! Boom! It's actually sorbet. Whatever. It's good.
The espresso is the important part.
Coffee almond sorbet with espresso bark.
Ooh. Espresso bark. That's interesting.
You know, rather than this background music, since we are in fact in a pub, we're gonna do this is so ridiculous.
Which one?
There you go, that's better.
Okay, wait. Before we keep going.
Mm-hmm. Yay! Player's manual and Bolos. Interesting.
Yes, I got an Amazon gift card from as an end of the year gift because these are expensive. I did not know how expensive they are. So I got both of them. So
yes. Yeah. I have slowly built up my collection, so I have 5, and I think they have a new one that's coming out that has some more stuff, and I'm like, do I?
There's so many.
Yeah. Well, and some of them are like adventures that people have had that have published, that they've created and published. So it's like adventure in a book. You just go ahead and do this whole thing. Versus like the other ones.
If you don't know where to start, that's great.
Yes, absolutely. Boom, lights from the other direction.
Are your lights controlled by your phone? That was fancy.
I have one, yes. I have one that's controlled by my phone. This other one theoretically could be, but I have to get another bulb for it, which I don't know if I care enough to do. Though I might still do it because it's kind of great that it does that.
Yeah, it's really.
I can just be like, huh. And then this one also has like, it has different types of white. So like, it's getting regular white to more like of a blue white. And I'll swing back around, then we're in like an orange light. Or an orange
that was
light.
nice. I like the orange one.
Or
That's so cool.
I can also do blue. Darker blue to purple to pink.
Wow, that's crazy.
Just from my phone.
That's super awesome.
Yeah.
That could be ambiance too, huh, for D&D.
We totally have before. Yeah, there's a moment where like we're in a swamp, green, or we're like in a dark spot, and Chris is like, "Can you give me a blue ambiance for this?" And I was like, "Done." We did it.
That's so awesome.
There's also.
Sorry, go.
I do have the candle flicker. Not that it's doing a whole lot here that you can really see it, but it's like, it's doing kind of a little like thing from a candle flicker too, which is kind of fun.
That's good for tavern or fireside,
right?
Campfire.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love my notes that I made for this. I totally didn't do what I wanted to do, but so much of this is like, okay, this is mostly in my head, and I have very vague notes about what's happening, where we go next. Cool. Good times.
Wait, you didn't get to do what you wanted to do?
No, I did. I just didn't put like a lot of notes down for myself.
Okay.
I have some very basic information for things, but that's about it.
Okay, well, because I was telling Kirsten, I always wonder, well, you're the only game master I've ever had, but I always wonder what the game master has in mind and how, like, flexible it is, because you're dealing with other free wills, and it could go, like, a totally different direction. And I feel like I'm not, like, imaginative enough. That's, like, my... Like, Kirsten was like, what if we just, like, shot an arrow at Mommy Fortuna when she got down? Like, from the camera, and it's like, well, you could choose to do that, you know? Like, you could totally be a total jerk through the whole game.
Yeah, because I've seen that happen.
Yeah, so I was just like, I don't ever want to, like, ruin anything you have planned, but I'm sure you also, like, allow for all kinds of tangent universes.
Well, and I think there's also, like, there's generally always a way for what you want to have happen to happen.
Okay.
Man, we're like
You
walking
just
in.
look for
We're like walking into a perfect example of it. Of like, we're gonna get to a point where we're about to start doing some battles, and certain things have to happen so those battles can take place. We've kind of discussed how that might happen already. And like there's you've kind of discussed how things might happen on your end. In the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, however they end up choosing to play this, there's another way that I'm going to do this to make sure that something is going to happen. So I have like the alternate options to make sure things keep happening. Yeah. There was a thing I saw on Tumblr this week that I think I sent Chris that was like so hilarious to me. That was about being in the middle of the game and all of your players being like, I'm going to explore over on this side of this river and look at all the stumps and see if I can find anything underneath. And they're like, and I'm going to walk over this side and see if I can find the find any treasure in this hut that was left over on the side. And there were like 4 or 5 other things that could possibly be happening. And meanwhile, the GM is just like, just cross the river. Cross the river. There's nothing else here. Just get over the river. I was like,
okay.
Not that like anyone has ever gotten to that point where I've had like 5 different players who are doing like different things, because I've never had 5 players at once. But I was like, I can totally see that being a thing where I'm like, we're still here.
Keep moving.
Well, and that was what I was going to do just too really fast when I started jamming for Chris. Would be like, we come to it, I'd like, cool, we're going to come to a town to sleep for the night. My thought process is like, we're just like banging along and moving through. Town is like there to sleep in, give you a good place to do it, spend a little money there, move forward, maybe chat to a person. And then he's like, check out the bounty board, see what's there. And I'm like, and play anything for a bounty board. Okay, sure, things on the bounty board, okay. And he's like, I want to go into the shop and see what's there. I'm like, I don't know what's in the shop. Oh my god. So
it's a puzzle shop.
Right. You're like, oh well, this isn't fun. No, it's not. Move on.
Okay. Well, to your credit, if that's ever happened when we're playing, I haven't noticed. Like, I can see you imagining things, but you're pretty quick on the draw. Like, it's always been like, oh, and he came up with something cool.
The whole beginning, like, my idea was that you guys were going to immediately start on the road out, and that did not happen. Nothing.
Everyone, yeah.
Nothing between you guys hearing about what the mission was, and by the time you actually left, outside was planned at all. That was all like, cool, we're just doing this then.
Okay, well.
Yep. So.
Be prepared.
Yep. Which is like, I mean, that's the thing that I've grown into doing more. I used to have like super extensive notes, and now I'm like, I've got a page with barely any information. Mostly stuff that we're gonna like possibly be fighting in the future, but nothing really that intense. Yeah. Oh, cool.
Okay. Well, my favorite are the battles. That's what I cannot wait. I'm always like, next battle, next battle.
Right?
Those are my favorite. So I'm always waiting for when the next one's gonna. It's almost like, well, you've played Skyrim, right? A tad.
Yeah.
Okay. You know how like when an enemy's close by, even if you can't see them, you can tell an enemy's close by because the music starts to go da na na.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I did that when I was playing Dragon Age with Chris. There are moments where the music would like swell and do a thing. I was like, oh, there's something's gonna happen. I need to figure something out here. We're gonna get battled. He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, the music swelled. And he's like, that's not a thing. And I was like, it is a thing. What are you talking about? This is a thing. He's like, okay, maybe it's a thing in other places, but I have not noticed it being a thing here. And I was like, okay, whatever you say, sir.
He plays Skyrim, so he should know that's totally a thing. And I can my interior jukebox has battle music whenever you're about to say, and you see it, there are coming towards you. Yeah, roll your initiative.
Right.
Like, yay, the battle music is starting.
Right.
So, anyways, big tangent, but.
No, it's good. Cool. I'm like, speaking of one of my things that I was working on, here's one in particular. It's like, this was not prepared correctly.
I'll floss in the bathroom when you need it.
Everything. Okay, and that is actually a
Is that a unicorn on his gelato?
There's a unicorn on your gelato.
Is that a unicorn?
There is indeed.
It's an omen.
I was meant to be eating this right now.
Yep.
In
You
our
were.
presence.
Yep.
We've had another unicorn. That's the solid black one from the desert.
Wow, you're good. I forgot all about it.
Very nice. Yeah, so okay, we are in a tavern. Okay. Sorry, I just like there was a the rest of like I'm using a generator that comes up like get me a common inn and it does all the stuff for me. I'm like, great. Including like a menu that innkeeper, the patrons that are in there and a couple things about that and other rumors that I might find. And I was like, oh, so convenient and helpful that this is a thing. It's just like, go, I need an inn. I'll use what I can from there. So then I look up at the top banner, and it says, Donjon, the box of mice explodes. And I was like, what? Does that even... What?
We don't need that plot point.
Are the mice in the barrels?
Oh, the barrels.
sorry.
Oh, okay.
What was it? What was that? There was a thing I wrote down about the swarm of rats looking really haggard or something.
Something funny that happened? Oh, yeah.
No, yeah, I was just talking about us fighting the hordes of rats the very first time we played. And it was like it's a rat that's not doing so well. It's just like, there's a horde of rats. So like,
No, now it's a box of mice.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Alright, so you head into this inn, or this little tavern area.
Yep.
There are a couple open tables around. There's the bar in the middle with kind of a portly elf barkeep that is there. And, what would you like to do? A portly elf.
That's cute.
Uncommon.
He's my favorite type of elf.
Person's favorite type of elf. Okay, well, we want to sit by. Should we sit by the innkeep because he might have heard all the stories?
Yeah, maybe we should ask the innkeep if you've seen this wagon.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna head over to and sit at the bar, so that we can be in close proximity to the innkeep.
Sure. Okay. Excellent. So you kind of wander on up, and there's a table kind of like right by where the innkeep comes in and out of the from behind the bar, and so you both kind of settle in right there. He kind of strides, I guess, over. Stands by and says, Right. I didn't want to say waddled, and I'm just like, I can't think of another thing. I was like, we're going to say strides. I don't want to say waddled.
Ambled over.
Yeah, I like that much more ambled. Thank you.
Okay.
Ambled over, and it's kind of like, well, good evening, missus, and welcome to the Bloody Sword, which I can't remember why my uncle decided to name it that, but it's an institution in town now, so here we are. What can I get for you?
Thank you. I'll take, what kind of ciders do you have?
It looks like we've just got our standard cider in today, apple. A nice mug of it. Would you like to look at the whole menu?
Yeah, bring us the menu, please.
Bring the menus over. So your options are salted mutton and watercress with a tankard of bitter for 7 copper. Boiled eggs and wheat bread with a tankard of ale for 9 copper. Millet biscuits and whey cheese with a mug of stout for 2 copper. Vegetable stew and a mug of bitter for 2 copper. Almond bread and curd cheese with a mug of bitter for 3 copper. Pottage and a mug of cider for 4 copper. And barley porridge and a mug of cider for 4 copper.
I'll take the boiled eggs and wheat bread and whatever you can.
The tankard of ale.
Yes.
I'll take the salted mutton and the with the watercress and the bitter.
Very well. So that'll be a total of 16 copper for the both of you. Or if you would like, I can charge you each individually as well. It's low enough right now that I can make that happen.
No, just do
I got it. I got it. 16.
Thank you, my good Margaret.
No problem.
No problem. The dwarf says no problem.
I'm a cartographer.
Wait,
Perfect.
we should get, while he's over here, we should get his attention, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so certain, good service. Yeah, before you go.
Yes, yes, indeed.
We rolled into town with this stranger. We just met her today. She goes by the name of Mommy, and she has a caravan of oddities. Would you happen to have heard of this traveling show person before?
It's been some time since she's been here. It's very exciting to know that she is back. It's been maybe 2 years since we last saw her.
She lost the dryad.
Yes, no more dryad.
No more dryad.
She had a dryad?
Apparently at one time.
It's been too long. We'll have to... She usually comes in for a drink at some point, so we'll have some words about what she's been able to bring us this time around. Goodness. Very well. But you spent some time with her, you said.
Just a handful of hours. But since we were headed the same direction, we figured we'd travel with her. But between you and me, good sir, we don't trust her altogether. And we do. Our heart goes out to those creatures. We just don't think they should be living in captivity. They're so exceptional.
I don't know, now that they're in there, if there is a way to release them that wouldn't result in the demise of many a human.
True, they're very dangerous, but let's just say, hypothetically, someone had a plan to free them. I don't suppose you could give us the name of anyone who knows some spells, or how to undo a spell. I mean, you're an elf. Surely you know some magical folk around these parts.
I don't know if I like the idea of releasing any of these creatures while we're parked in our town. I'm gonna strongly advise that you wait until Mommy has left our town and at least been on the road for a day before we look at releasing anything at that point. That's just... That would not be good for our folk here. There might be... I'm not sure that I know the name of a person who might be able to help you out too much right now. I'd have to think on it, which person might be the best to advise you to. Why don't you come back to me in the morning, and we'll see about giving you the name of the person. I'll sit on a little bit, maybe talk to a couple people over the evening rush, if that sits well with you.
All right. We'll take your words to heart. That sounds prudent. Margaret, might as well take for room then, since we'll be staying tonight.
Yes.
All right. Well, if you don't mind, on our tablet, you put just a room with 2 beds.
Very well. Indeed, we shall. With this, where I can see how much a room is away.
I need to figure. I have 459 coppers written down. And then 12 silver and 20 gold, that's not... I need to figure out the system.
10 copper is a silver, 10 silver is a gold. It's just base 10.
10 copper is a silver, 10 silver is... Oh, okay. Okay, you'll have to help me figure that out.
Oh, yeah, no problem. 459 copper.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Excuse me.
9 copper and 45 silver.
Okay.
And then if you wanted to do 5 silver, and then just move the 4 to the gold, so it'd be 24 gold.
Okay.
5 silver.
Okay, thank you. That helps. All right.
I write it like this. I put a penny donation and a tens and then a dollar till it's over and over.
Oh, okay.
So basically pennies, dimes, dollars.
Okay.
We good?
We're good.
Yeah.
Okay, we got the money figured out. Thank you. Because we know we're going to have to pay for a room here in a second.
Yep. So it says 1 room for the 2 of you, you say?
Yeah, We're companions. We've been on the road for a couple of weeks now or something. So
Sure, no.
yeah,
Sure.
we like to watch each other's back. We stay in one room. Yeah.
Sure, that'll be 6 silver for the two of you.
Okay. I can get this. You got dinner. You'll give me back. We're traveling. Okay. So I hand over the 6 silver.
Much obliged. I'll make sure the room is prepared upstairs for you. And
you, sir.
we'll make sure that this your order gets in, and we'll get you the drinks back fairly quickly here. All right.
Thank you.
So he paddles away and gets working on everything. Comes back over quickly with your drinks, hands them over to you, and then nods and gets back to his work.
Okay. So, Margaret, seen anyone around here who might answer some questions about unicorns or magic? We could roll for perception check, maybe. We want to perceive if there's anyone who looks like they know about unicorns. Yeah, is there anyone talking around? That's what we want to figure out.
Okay, so you want to listen and hear if there's anyone talking, you can hear anything about unicorns. All right.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Roll away.
Natural 20.
Excellent.
Person got it. I don't think there's anyone here.
Perfect. Yes, exactly. At this point, Margaret's ability to kind of really hear anything specifically around her is kind of just a din. There's not a whole lot more. Valkyria, as you're listening around, you are able to hear quite clearly around the conversations happening in the tavern. There's some griping about work, about the crop. Seems to not have been that bad. There's some whispers about a plague that have not made it, that people have heard have been in other areas. And there's some conversation about Mommy being back in town. And at one point you hear, I wonder if she's got a unicorn this time. And yet, besides that, there's not any other discussion about unicorns that you could hear.
Okay. All right. So,
I think the people in this town are pretty okay with Kira.
Yeah, it sounds like they don't really see anything sinister to it, but now the elf, he's making me reconsider setting the creatures loose tonight. I think maybe we should hold off. It won't be hard to catch up to her on the road. She's moving slowly. We'll catch up to her on the road later and set the creatures free. And maybe in the meantime, we'll just keep an eye out for a spell or someone, maybe a bumbling magician who could help us. Just kidding. Yeah. Okay.
Is it like players speak? Is it even feasible that if we kicked over the barrels that were in that one kind of alleyway, that it would startle the horses pulling the carriage, and then might take the carriage out of town without Mommy on it right away, and then can just like run away?
Because players speak too. While you were gone, what we discussed was one of us create the diversion, one of us like hop on or somehow see the caravan out of town a little ways. It wouldn't be far, but like basically stampede it out of town before setting the creatures loose, and the other one creates the diversion. But
all right. Okay. So I would say that you could try that. That's I'm gonna leave that up. We're gonna do some rolls if that's the course you decide to see and see if that actually works.
There's going to be some good rolls, probably.
And see what ends up happening there. I would say my initial thought is that These horses are pulling some mythical creatures that I'm guessing some barrels are not necessarily going to be something that spooks them too much, but it might end up happening. Depending on how the dice decide they want this to work out for everyone this evening.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Okay. We should just play it cool. See if the opportunity arises, but otherwise just like not wreak havoc.
Okay. We do, we don't want to burn our bridges, literally or figuratively.
Sure.
But before, okay, so we're gonna eat and stuff, but Mardred, before we turn in for the night, I'd like to go see if there's a shrine to Avalyn somewhere, so I can
Escort you.
check in with her before bed.
Excellent. Great. So, looking at the town. There's a couple. I mean, so I'm gonna guess you're gonna kind of walk out and do a little bit of wandering around the town.
We're gonna eat, and then I guess we'll explore a little bit. Yeah.
We're going to say, give me a perception check.
Okay. Here you go. Here, one here. Ooh, 13. 7. Oh, 8.
Marjorie, you were able to notice as you enter town that there are a couple. You noticed about 3 different shrines that were just kind of on the wall on the way in. And it looks like that might be a thing that has happened in this town of Rawls, rather than having full temples.
Like structures.
There's small shrines that are kind of built into the walls that people are able to stop by and have their moments of prayer with.
Okay, I saw some shrines on the way in.
Oh, thank you, Marjorie. Okay, let's go that way.
Maybe there's one for Sony.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking for a shrine for Sony and Avalyn.
So as you kind of head back up to see the way you were in, the furthest one, or the one that's furthest out, or kind of the first one you encountered on your way in, was a shrine to Kento, god of the mountains. Next one down is going to be a shrine to Mother Avaldi. And the next one down is to Kilden. The god of the celebration. And that's kind of what you can see in that area. But there are definitely plenty of other alleys and places you can go looking around if you would like to do so.
Well, we might head into the mountains soon. So, maybe we should leave a couple of hoppers at Kento.
Sure.
Okay. So I take I'll do 2 coppers I put near the shrine to Kento.
2 coppers.
As you put those coppers down, a slight breeze comes by and just enough to kind of move your hair just a smidge. And then it stops.
And then what?
And then it stops.
And then it stops. Okay. Did you feel that, Margaret? That was weird.
Just as I put 2 coppers.
Perplexing. That's a good sign, though, I think.
Let's meander. Do you want
to walk around the square? We're just okay, we're going to go walk around the square.
All right. So are you going to kind of...
Wow. That was Mommy Fortuna's dragon.
Right. So you're coming south out of this, out of the...
that main road.
Wow, for some reason that word was so hard right then.
That's okay.
Would you like to kind of continue going along south, or would you like to make that right and kind of work your way around the outside?
Which way are you going to go?
Maybe south still. Just like take a peek along the other entranceway to the town in case there's more.
Oh yeah, more shrines. That's good. And then we can circle back around. We'll end at our tavern.
So as you're kind of walking all the way down, there is another shrine kind of right in the middle of the next wall, and is in fact a shrine to Kasoni.
Kasoni. I put a whole silver in there.
Whoa.
Oh, very nice. As you put the silver there, you happen to notice a single leaf falls down out of the sky and just lands right next to it.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Aww. Thank you, Kasoni.
Yes, thank you, Kasoni. Okay, so we keep on. So we pause for 5 minutes. So keep on going.
So you get to kind of like the southern entrance, and there's a couple more down there. Did you want to kind of venture towards the southern exit, or did you want to kind of keep working your way around?
Can we go check it out?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna go check it out.
All right. So as you're kind of walking through, you see a shrine to Visek, and you see a shrine to Anur, and you see a shrine to Total.
Okay, hold on. Let me look them up real quick. Visek.
And Total.
Oh, Total. Oh, he's so cute. And who was the other one?
Anur.
Oh, 2 of those suspected to be dead.
Persistence and hard work.
Oh, persistence and hard work. But also, what do you think? Should we? We don't know if Honor is still alive, but we could, just in case.
We can see right now.
Oh yeah, we can see. Okay. Okay, so I will put a silver at Honor's shrine.
All right. So you put the piece of silver there, and kind of wait for a couple minutes, and nothing happens.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
That's not a good sign. Or Honor.
Work ethic is dead.
You never know. She could just be imprisoned.
It's possible.
I'm just kidding.
He's not gonna give anything away. Okay, so we're gonna continue around the. Well, we're gonna go back in towards the town because we're kind of out on that passageway. Okay, and then we enter back into the square and keep going.
Perfect. So it's starting to get dark, and there's more people that are starting to gather around in the square as they wait for the show to get going and for Mommy to come back and start opening.